I'm starting to feel like
funny.
a pastor at a mega church where they pipe in their sermons to different places, and every time they do their announcements, they mention all the places that they are. If you're watching us on the internet, or if you're at our Mount Juliet campus or our God Behind Bars campus, that's what this is starting to feel like. It's like, hey, welcome to the Wally Show Precast. You can stream us there, Facebook Live, and hello YouTube. People on YouTube complaining about not shouting out YouTube
because
for some
it's
reason.
fantastic, and
Yeah.
you don't like to, acknowledge it.
It's not that I don't like to not acknowledge it. It's just like I don't think that everybody has to be acknowledged.
Why do you hate everyone on YouTube?
Yeah, that's it. Yes,
Wally at allwally.com.
somebody else had emailed me too, going, "Hey, give a shout out to my brother on YouTube," and I don't have that piece of paper with me, so I apologize.
Man,
Yeah, I
the
disrespected
belittling
him.
continues.
Here is something that Kyle did for us for the show, which I thought was really nice. Kyle said, "Hey, thank you guys for all you do. I was listening to the show, and I love the real, serious, funny, life-affirming, and at times a bit wacky. And I thought you guys needed a intro, and so he's into Star Wars, and this is what
I already hate it.
Kyle put together for us as a really nice guy."
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a signal was discovered. That signal was brought to you by Zach 3PO, Human Fact-Checking Relations, Wall Solo, who beat the Kessel Run in 12 caramels, Chewbacca, Mighty Warriors, and Princess Betty Rockana,
Now she likes him.
fearless rebel leader. Together, they wage an ongoing rebellion against the forces of the evil Radio Empire and their army of faceless clones.
I think he's talking about Caleb.
Welcome. You have just entered Wally Wars.
My favorite part of that, though,
Yeah.
was Zach being Zach 3PO, because C3PO is easily the most obnoxious character in Star
yeah,
Wars,
yeah,
behind
yeah.
maybe Jar Jar Binks.
There it is.
There it is. That is Betty. We're gonna have to start keeping track with like a bell every time she shade throws. She's up to about 5 or 6 on the day, and you can actually do it this time, Betty Rock, since we are streaming this for Facebook Live and YouTube. You can actually demonstrate your
Okay, so
shade
what
thrown.
you do is you take
Tutorial.
You take your right hand and you pull it towards your face, but backwards like this, palm out, and then you take your other one and you do this. So you go shade thrown, like you're shaving your, like you're
6.
shading your face.
Yes.
Shade thrown.
7.
Shade thrown.
8.
This bell's gonna get annoying.
It also almost works with Leroy Jenkins as well. So they
Thumbs
can,
up, all in.
it can do double duty. I do like the hand motions with shade thrown. So
I do
nicely
too.
done.
And I just came up with that all by myself.
I know.
Can we all do it all at once, and you can judge
Yes.
our performances
Ooh,
to
yes,
make sure we're
yes,
doing
yes,
it right? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So it's shade thrown. Like
Ooh,
that.
I love it. Yes.
Okay, not bad. Let me see here. Hold on, I gotta get ready. I want to do this right. Yeah, I gotta stretch. I don't want to pull anything. Come on, I'm getting old. All right, you ready? Shade thrown, my stars. I added a little something to it.
You think?
Yeah, my stars, shade thrown.
Zachary?
Shade thrown.
Oh,
Nice.
man.
Love it.
Nice.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yours is definitely the best. Yours was
Oh.
very strong. Yours was very creepy.
Odd, yes. All right, so let's get to some of the birthdays here. Hey, Wally, love listening to the podcast. Sometimes you guys make me think. Sometimes we disagree, but you guys make me laugh all the time. It is my today is my 49th birthday. So happy birthday there, Tina. Love to get a shout out. I have a question, Wally, since we are the same age. I'm 48. I have a goal
you're
of doing
50.
No, I have a
50.
goal of doing
51?
one pull-up with an added 50-pound weight before I reach before I reach 50 years old. Do you have a big goal before hitting 50?
Living.
Yeah. Yes. I don't have I don't know. I don't think of age like that. I really don't. Like, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I'm going to turn 50. I need to do this. I don't really have a bucket list. I got a text yesterday from a record company that was like, hey, do you want to go skydiving with Brandon Heath? And
I do.
Oh, would you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are
'cause-
you kidding me?
Why do you
'cause-
have a death wish?
Well,
Is that a death wish?
Here's the thing. They were like, we can bring one radio person with us. And so he asked me, and then my daughter freaked out. Like, she's like, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. I'm like, baby, I've skydived a few times. It's a lot of fun. She's like, you're not doing that. So maybe if you wanted to do it instead, we could have you do it, and then I could kind of cover it. And
That'd be awesome.
yes.
I wanted to go,
Yeah.
but I can't justify the cost.
Right.
But yeah, I'd go.
It's with like the 101st Airborne, which is really cool.
That's
So it's a military thing.
That's
From
terrible.
70,000 feet.
Yeah.
You gotta have
Yeah.
oxygen
It's a
tanks.
halo
I couldn't
jump.
do
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't remember a thing. I'd
Wait.
probably faint before I jumped
Yeah.
out of the plane.
It is fun.
I'm not saying I'm gonna be fearless in it, but
I would do it 100%, but I don't know why my daughter just has this fear that I'm going to die. How ironic would it be if I gave up my slot and Becca died?
Oh,
wow. What?
why would you even go
This
there?
is how I think.
I know,
This is
you're
how
very dark.
But it's how I think.
You're sick.
I'm like, no, but like, come on. Everyone was thinking that. Like,
No.
really?
No.
No one was thinking that?
No.
What I'm thinking is if you can't get Becca to jump off the plane, like when the time comes and she's just not going to do it, all you have to do is whip out a clown mask.
Yes.
And then she's
Yes.
confronted
Yeah.
with jumping out of a plane or a clown.
Ooh,
She's
clown
gone.
mask on Brandon Heath.
Yes.
I love it.
All right. Well, I didn't know you would want to do that, so maybe
Yeah.
we'll work that out today. I'll
Thumbs
see.
up, ball, and let's do this.
Leroy! Yeah,
Leroy
Instead of yelling Geronimo, you have to yell Leroy Jenkins as you jump out of the plane.
Wait. It's still strapped to an instructor, right?
No.
They don't do that in the Army.
Yeah. You just jump out.
The
and
instructor is wearing a clown mask. Is that a problem?
no. You are strapped to an
Okay.
instructor.
I was like, because if it's like doing it with Brandon Heath, I'm like, I don't trust Brandon Heath
Oh
to
no
jump out of a- okay.
No, you're just going with an
Making sure.
instructor, and that would be weird. They got to find someone really tall because they got to be taller than you. Like
Captain
that a real
Fizbo
thing?
will be fine.
yes.
Stop it.
Wig.
Let me see. This is from Tammy. Hey, would you guys give a belated shout out to my son, Asa? Asa. He turned 13, and I didn't get this in. So, yes, he's a huge fan of the show. He stumbled on the show 2 years ago on a road trip with his dad, and he's been a faithful potty ever since. So, my question is to you and Zach, actually, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self as a man of God that would encourage my son as he enters his teenage years? Don't do what everybody else is doing just to fit in. Like, because I know I definitely like tried to follow things and got into things that I shouldn't have gotten into out of insecurities and things like that. And so it's like, be your own man, stand your ground, and don't be ashamed of your faith, even at an early age. Because I let my faith waffle real easily when I was a kid. Like when it was convenient or it served me, then I was like, oh yes, I'm a believer. But then, when it didn't, it was like, oh, I'm not. I'm like Peter denying it, kind of thing. Zachary?
Advice for a 13-year-old?
Yes.
I think you're in an awkward time where things are just going to be awkward for you because that's what your especially young teenage years are. So anytime you need to get the attention off of you, just ask people questions about themselves or be interested in other people, and that'll immediately steer people away from your awkwardness.
That's not a bad idea.
And it's a good it's a
I still
good
do that.
thing to do.
People love talking about themselves.
They do.
Yeah, that's a
Especially
secret.
that one.
I know. Yeah, I mean that's a secret, like to interviewing too. It's like you're asking, people like to talk about themselves, and so finding those things about them that make them the star of the conversation. So whether it's an interview, for a radio station, or whether it's an interview for a job, or just in conversations and small talk, if you hate small talk, that's the best way is
Yes.
ask questions about that other person consistently. All right, that is going to do it for those things. Got 2 news stories and 1 least of these.
No, 2 least of these and 1 story. No,
No,
I don't even care anymore. I'm starting. Okay. So the
he's feisty McFeisty.
So I'm gonna start with mine
No.
instead.
Okay. The cast members of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air recently got reunited.
Nice.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent
Most of my days chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, shooting them b-ball outside of the school. Love this one. All
It's
right.
a good one. But the reunion actually stirred up some bad blood from the original Aunt Viv, Janet
No.
Hubert.
What should she be mad about?
Supposedly, she blames Will Smith for getting her fired because she was only there for the first 3 seasons.
Oh, really? And then it became all about Uncle Phil. What did they write her out? Like, did they get divorced? Did she die?
No, they replaced
No,
her,
they
didn't
replaced
they?
her. Yeah.
They did?
There's 2 Aunt Vivs, right?
Oh, so a different character. So it was
A
the same
different
character,
actress.
just okay.
Oh, because they did that on Roseanne. They got rid of, I think, Becky, the oldest daughter, became a different daughter, and it's just like they just never talk about it. And so you're like, oh, well, something's okay.
Well, there's been a picture that's been going around of the cast members together, and it was for charity. But in a Facebook post, Janet Hubert said, "I'm not offended, but it does prompt me to take some meetings to pitch my memoir to tell the behind-the-scenes story before I I leave this earth.
Oh, wow. I would love to see
she's
that.
got a 20-year
In
grudge.
West Philadelphia, born and raised on
He
the
doesn't.
playground
You know,
of
he
don't
wanted you to
care.
do the story for the song,
just
right?
for
That's
the-
all he
No,
wanted.
I didn't even put the song in. Zach did. But no, I would love to hear what she has to say. I don't know how true it is, you know.
Because
you
it
never
probably
know.
seems like it seems to be that might have been a correct firing. Like if she's still carrying that much bitterness this
Right.
much later and feels so much anger toward
slighted.
things, like maybe she wouldn't have been someone you wanted to work around.
And
with
he
it.
was so young. Like when he did Fresh Prince, he wasn't. Was he really famous at that point for his rapping? Like that.
I think he rapped before, but I don't know that
I
he was
think so, yeah.
famous.
I think he rapped, but I didn't think he was like fully blown up yet. And I think Fresh Prince of Bel Air, like the TV show, actually helped him
Right.
get to the stage where he's at now. So
Right.
that would be weird that he would have that kind of cred.
Right.
at that
Do you know
point.
he now is like right now Will Smith is older than Uncle Phil was when Fresh Prince started?
No,
Like 4 or 5 years older.
Is he really?
Isn't that crazy?
Holy cow, that is crazy. Betty Rock, you got one more. What you got?
Yes, my next one is about Frozen.
Oh, fantastic!
You put the clips in the system. You have a choice in this.
But that's the
Yeah.
only reason he said go with these stories.
I went to Hollywood Studios on vacation, so I was there. They have a Frozen, not ride, but a Frozen show where it's so crazy. They'll make money on anything.
They have
So-
a ride now too, though.
Yeah, they do have a ride in that's at Epcot.
Epcot, yeah.
That ride has been a 2-hour wait before, and so I didn't do it.
You know why that
Oh, good
happens?
grief.
The ride keeps getting frozen.
Hey-oh.
I'm
That
sorry.
wasn't
I would
good.
like to
That
apologize.
was really
Yeah,
bad.
you should.
Okay, can I go to my story?
No, because I got another part of this. Sorry. Well, this ain't about you, Rock, all the time. We're getting there. We're just meandering.
I thought you were done. I
No.
thought he said a bad joke. You said
No.
something about going on vacation. Now I can.
No,
Jump
I,
into-
I was
oh.
I hadn't finished my vacation.
Oh, okay.
So I was in there, but what they do is they have this show where it's a set like from Arendelle, and they have Anna come out, and she's a live action person, and then they basically tell the entire story of Frozen. And they cut to clips of the movie, and it's a sing along. So everyone in there sings along with it, and they got a bouncing ball. Oh my gosh, I sold it. Haley and I were all in, and we were singing to the point where people, like adults around us, were looking at me, and it was fantastic.
Getting annoyed.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes, we owned it. And then there's snow that comes down at the end. It's fantastic.
You should write a book on how to get attention in 100 different places. And
Ah.
so like it just goes through different scenarios you can be in life, and you give tips on how to get
I
the
like
most
that.
attention.
I like that. Yeah, because I sang at the top of my little lungs, and I knew all the words. And I think
And
other
at
dads.
the high octave.
Yes,
too.
I take it up a notch. And I think the dads were like, how do you know all of this? And I didn't miss a beat.
No, there's no dad that can't understand how you can know Frozen.
Mhm.
Like my daughter already, we've watched it probably 40 times.
I know. I
the,
watched
the song.
when we watched her. Like first thing we did was put in Frozen.
Yeah, and weeks later, she was talking about Elsa and Anna, and we're like, "You've never seen the movie?" And like we didn't realize.
And then tell the story about how she says Olaf. It is so cute.
Olaf.
That is cute.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Betty.
Okay, so in the new Entertainment Weekly.
How did we run out of time?
No,
Dumbass.
I don't think so. A
Nuts.
producer from
Let it go.
a producer from Frozen claims that the original was supposed to be different. So it would be Anna and Elsa. They wouldn't even be sisters. They wouldn't even be royalty. Elsa would be like this wicked snow queen. And because she was left at the altar,
Oh, she's bitter.
so now she's bitter. Yeah. And so Hans is going to be this bad guy. He was the one with the moose, right? Or whatever that thing was. A reindeer.
It was a reindeer, yeah.
Okay, so he was going to be the bad guy and cause an avalanche on the town that would almost kill everyone.
Wow.
And so Anna was going to go to, what's her face?
Elsa.
Elsa, and beg her to help thaw out the
Ah.
avalanche.
Oh, but then how would she thaw it out with freezing powers? So maybe she had fire powers.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
like that better. Like I don't like
No.
that people think Elsa's like a hero of a story, or like she's not a good.
Why do you? Yeah, why do you? Why do you
She's
think
not the
this?
I just don't
hero.
like
She's
her.
not the hero. She's
Yeah.
the one that learns
Why?
the lesson.
We had a discussion on this the other day. My wife thought she was the hero. I'm like, no.
Why do you? Why
honest.
do you think that?
Why do I think
That she's not the hero, not the heroine.
she purposely removes herself from society
To protect people.
She's not the
No,
hero. She's the
just
one
wear
that
the gloves.
she learns the lesson.
Like it's not that hard. Like just wear the gloves.
But there was a point of the movie where her dad went to say, Elsa, it's okay. And she said no. And she had the gloves on because she was so afraid of hurting people. She loves people, but she doesn't want to hurt people.
It doesn't make her a hero.
She could still freeze things with
She's
the
not-
gloves on, right?
Not technically, no.
How
And
do
that's
the
a pretty
gloves not
weak.
freeze?
That's a pretty weak superpower if it only takes a pair of mittens to stop you. You know.
If your kryptonite is mittens,
Yes,
you are not a superhero.
exactly. You know what? We spent a lot of time as men talking about Frozen. I wish the girls had chimed in. There is. I was watching a thing on Pixar movies and how they're so good at telling their story and why. But they mentioned a bunch of Disney movies. How Snow White, Cinderella, Ariel, The Little Mermaid, and even they mentioned Frozen are about how girls have to change or become something else or do these things to win the love of a man. And he's like, that's
Yes.
why Pixar movies are
This
written
is-
differently than that.
Oh, I haven't even thought about that because you think about it. Ariel, she like gave up
Her
everything
voice.
for a
Everything.
stranger. She
Yes.
doesn't even know him.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
could be a crazy person.
But this is something to the credit of Frozen because they kind of make fun of that whole Disney mentality almost because she falls in love with that guy right away and they sing that song about finishing each other's.
Sandwiches.
Right. And so that's what I was going to say. So,
Jinx.
But then
Jinx
he turns
again.
out to be the evil guy. And so that's kind of like an interesting lesson within that of like, okay, don't just fall in love with the first guy that sings to you.
And another thing, a lot of the princesses met their prince in the woods. No good girl is going to go in the
That's
woods
right.
and meet a stranger.
That's right.
And
So
if
don't
he
marry
follow
kisses you when
Disney.
you're in a coma, it's creepy.
Yes.
Creepy.
Yes, it is really
It
when
is.
you think
Why
about
would
it.
That's
you
assault.
break your finger on a spinning wheel? It's not for that. No? Okay.
Nope. Yeah, stop it going into the woods. There was part of this thing that I had seen on Disney storytelling and Pixar storytelling was it was interesting when they were making that point about how the women give up all these things for these guys. The guy was making a point. He's like, and it's no wonder because all of those stories are based on old stories, from 100 years ago and classic stories. And I didn't realize this, but they showed that Frozen was even based on another old story. It wasn't like this was some new story that Disney had written.
And that's exactly what I was saying. Like, that's what the old story was.
So the thing that you were telling us
Right.
was the
But they-
basis of the old story.
And they wanted to make the characters more relatable,
Mhm.
so they made them sisters instead. And
Right.
the whole thing with the guy she falls in love with
Right.
turning into a bad
Well,
guy. Yeah.
Even Betty and I, we recently watched the original Snow White together, which that was done in like 1939.
A long
Yeah.
time ago.
41
Yeah.
maybe.
Mhm.
And just that whole mentality that like men are incapable of cleaning up after themselves and they have to wait for Snow White to come and do it. Like
Mhm.
even that, like there's
Yeah,
stuff
they're
in Beauty-
derogatory toward men, aren't they?
Beauty
Yes.
and the
Yeah,
Beast.
that's a very
the
good
guy
point.
is a beast. Yet if
Yeah,
the
men are
tables
beasts.
were turned, well, they are. If the tables were turned and the girl was the beast, the guy would have to be like, "Well, I'm digging at the bottom of the barrel. I got to look inside for her good heart." Where a girl is capable, but a guy is based on looks.
My daughter, speaking of Beauty and the Beast, just saw Beauty and the Beast and went.
good.
Yeah, it's
Despite
funny.
everything I just said, it was so good.
She came back with the opposite thing. You'll have
She
to
didn't
talk.
like
Yeah,
it?
you'll have to talk about it with her.
What?
She didn't like it because it got away from the original so much.
No,
but
it didn't.
What got away from the original?
the storyline.
like what?
She went through it point by point, and there's times I checked out. I'll be honest.
Wow.
Because I had a TV show on pause. I'm like, she came in. Like when your daughter comes in and wants to talk to you, even at 18, you're like, okay, great, I'll pause the show. And you're like, this is a good moment. We're talking. But then she's really into theater, and she's like really animated about it. And so at a point, 5 or 6 minutes in, I was kind of like going, I like
That's
this.
such a hard moment. And then, like, how long of a pause do you have to wait for before you can unpause it without seeming like you're like
2 seconds.
Don't wait, guys.
2 seconds is too
guys,
quick. I get.
listen to
no.
your daughters.
Yes.
Take the time.
We did. I did. I waited the whole time.
Uh-huh.
I waited the whole time until I'm like, okay, we good?
My dad doesn't pause things.
Yeah.
I have to talk. He watches westerns, and I have to talk in between gunshots. It's great.
Wait for the commercials, even though he's just watching golf. You still have to wait for the commercials.
That's awesome. Well, there was the whole thing with where a lot of people, like inside of, I guess, Christianity, were upset about the fact that there was a homosexual agenda or thing added in at the end with LeFou. And I asked her about it because I haven't seen it. I'm like, so was that like this really bad thing? She goes, I don't honestly understand what all the hubbub was about. I think it got blown way out of proportion is what she was saying. She's like, if I hadn't known about it going in, like from people bringing it up, I would not have thought anything about what it was. Like I wouldn't have noticed it as that, which is kind of interesting to me that sometimes you can become your own worst enemy and further somebody's agenda by being offended by something and giving it all this credibility and all this notoriety. Okay, so there we go. Thank you, Betty Rock. On to the news.
Yay! The best part. It's going to be amazing.
Shade throw.
Nice.
Oh, good. That was awesome.
Mine's not nearly as interesting. A new study came out with the new average allowance that children make. It was kind of interesting. The average is $5.24 a week.
A week. Okay.
And this is adjusted because the different ages are different prices. So, for example, an average 4-year-old takes it's about $2.58 a week, whereas an average 14-year-old it's $8.32 a week.
In talking about this and thinking about this, I just realized I never gave my daughter an allowance growing up. But like I didn't have a bunch of things she had to do. Like when I was a kid, the only thing I had to really do was clean up my room and mow the lawn. And so I got paid for mowing the lawn, and I think I got like a $2 a week or a $5 a week allowance. But I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, I didn't make my daughter do a bunch of stuff. She has to clear the table and she has to do the dishes. You know, like put or unload the dishwasher. That's not a lot, and that definitely isn't worth like a bunch of money. Some of that I think you should just have to do as a family, regardless of getting paid for it.
Yeah,
Like I don't see your family paying you for anything as a
No,
kid.
our allowance was not tied to chores because chores was just something you had to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
No compensation for it.
Yeah.
Which the allowance thing I think is a good thing because it taught me how to manage money at a really young age.
Right.
Like if I wanted this $7 thing in the toy store, and like when I was really young, my allowance was like $3 a week. I think it worked up to $7 a week by the time I was 16 and could get a job. But so it was like, okay, I need to wait, like, okay, 2 weeks allowance isn't enough. So I have to wait a third week. And then like I learned about tax that way because just because it's $7 doesn't mean I only need $7. And
It ain't your dad's filing a 1040
Yes,
for you.
seriously.
Because he's an accountant.
Yes. But
And then he charged you a fee, like $100 you had to pay back.
But there's so many life lessons I learned from getting an allowance.
Yeah.
One though thing that was really great about my family, my dad has this thing. We've talked about this before. He hates wrinkled money. He hates like messy money.
I get that.
He will actually iron his bills.
That's fantastic.
So
Oh
that
my
they are
gosh.
crisp.
That is fantastic. Crisp bills are the
Yes.
best.
And so sometimes if he'd get like a $10 bill back from McDonald's and it was gross, he'd just be like, ugh, bonus allowance this week. It was awesome. I loved
That's fantastic.
it. I loved
I
it.
used to do that a lot with Haley when I would get change back. And if it was like $1.50 or something like that, I'd be like, hey, you want this? And I'd give her the dollar. She'd be like, oh my gosh. And she was like a little squirrel. She just saved and saved and saved. And then she still does to this day. Like the other day, she was on spring break and went with a friend. And she sends my wife a picture of this top that she wanted to buy. And she's like, isn't this thing really cute? I'll split it with you. And my wife's like, what do you mean you'll split it with me? Like, you're on vacation, buy your shirt. And she's like, but it's $30. Like, and she's like, if we split it, it's only 15 each. My wife's like, you are 18. like, no, you need to buy this, you know? But she's always been like cheap with her own money. Like, she doesn't want to spend a dime of her own money. She doesn't mind spending mine, but she does not want to spend a dime of her own money. So, but allowance and things like that, like it is good. Like when I had her get a job at 16, and she's had to manage it, and we had her pay for a few of her acting things that she wanted to do, and they weren't cheap; they're like $500. And so it's like, okay, do you want to do this? Because we're not paying for another one. We've already done one this year or whatever. And I'm like, if you want to do this, you need to take the money out of your account and pay for it. And she did. So she found the things that were worth it to her,
Yeah.
and she invested in
Yeah,
them.
it teaches you a lot of good lessons
Yeah.
for sure. This is kind of an interesting story. You see stories all the time about people who have their library books for years and years and years and accrue all of these fines, and usually the fines are forgiven. Well, this time, this guy actually stole a library book from a library in Montana 35 years ago. The book was called
Is the story that I'm trying to figure out what the story is? Is the story that there's a library in Montana? Because that's pretty big news.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
But the book was called Bid Time Return, which I'm not familiar with, but it's by the same author who wrote I Am Legend, which was later turned into the movie with Will Smith in it.
And
Right.
that's the only reason I would know that.
Exactly. And so this guy has had this book all this time. He said it's his favorite book, and he felt so guilty about it all of these years for stealing it from the library that he just sent it back. He not only returned the book, he also gave a $200 donation, and he had the book professionally restored, and he
Wow.
had the author sign it, and the author was recently deceased. So now this book that this guy stole all these years ago is a first edition book. He got it restored. He got the author to sign it. Is worth like a ton of money for this
Really?
library. Yeah,
Oh,
and he
that's
made
cool.
a donation on top of it.
Oh, that's kind of
So
cool.
he really made good on something that he shouldn't have done in the first place, but still made sure that he paid it back in full.
Talk about forgiveness. That's our world's biggest small group, group.allwally.com. And so, like, he went the extra
Yeah.
mile to try to get that forgiveness out of the library.
I kind of imagine and picture that librarians know every single book that has not been returned, and that they have it up on their wall and they shed a tear over every night as they're closing up. Like, another night we didn't get Charlotte's Web back, and I feel like they know exactly who that is. And if they saw them, it's your picture next to that book.
With like yarn attached to
Yeah.
it, like you see on like the CSI shows
Yeah,
and
Right.
stuff.
yeah. They have
Right.
little milk cartons that they put the pictures of the books on, you know,
Yeah.
because they're just, have you seen me?
And I'm sure the reality is there's so many missing that they have no idea nor really care.
Yeah, I
don't know.
bet like library sciences have evolved, and you can get like full college degrees in being a librarian. Did you know that?
I have a friend, I think, who did that.
Did you really?
Mhm.
Yeah, because the way that we see librarians is completely different than what is now. But it's weird. Like, I was shocked. My daughter, when we were at Lipscomb the other day going through one of the tours, and they're like, okay, and the library's over here. And I'm like, why do you need the library?
Hey, it's a good place to study.
It
and
is, but
it
the
also
internet has everything.
not everything, because there's a lot of like periodicals and things that haven't been like fully scanned into the system.
Did
So,
you
I
have to
mean,
do microfiche?
No,
Did you have
I
to do-
did.
I had to do
No.
microfiche. It is a giant
maddening.
pain. Oh my gosh.
we did have the bookshelves though.
I'll get in it. Trying to like cue the thing up. Ridiculous.
Not that bad, but we did have like bookshelves that you turned the bookshelves to,
Uh-huh.
because like there are so many bookshelves, you had to get like access the one you needed. But just so many like of those professional or medical periodicals and magazines that
It frustrates me when I'm teaching and they don't offer a digital copy of the book. Because I'm not going to read it. And so I need to go search for things and search for what I need to know out
Oh
of
my
it.
goodness.
Yeah, seriously. And when they don't have that and they give me the hard copy, I have to spend time reading. And I hate to read. Reading is really problematic for me. And so like digital books are the absolute best if you got to read something.
Yeah, but these weren't like textbooks. These were like the actual
Mhm.
articles that you'd have to pay for normally or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for our precast today. And, I guess on with the podcast. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for the podcast today. And as always, thanks for being a potty shade throne.
I do like someone on Facebook Live commented
Got some
on
questions?
Becca's microphone. She wants to know if it's Renee wants to know, is it just me or can you almost see the dirt on Becca's microphone?
Okay, I'd like to defend a point here.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
should.
dirt. It's not. It's rust.
particles.
No, there's rust
from
all around the outside of
your
the
mouth.
microphone. Stop it.
when I saw the picture that Mercy Me posted, I did think that is disgusting.
It did look gross.
But
it's
then
not
when
my
I know
fault.
when I looked at it closer, the windscreen, they're metal, it
Yeah.
has rusted. Now that's from your Spitalin.
Yeah, but, like,
it
okay,
has rusted.
I don't-
Spit rust?
Yes,
That's kinda
it's
gross.
spit rust.
I don't. No, it's not me. It's not me. I blame Katie.
I think we should take it off. Just
This
take it
micro,
off.
like my
No.
microphone, like a bunch of people share this one too, and it's rusting on the side, and it does have stuff in it. And I heard Carlos throwing me under the bus with the Mercy Me guys in here, and then making fun of how disgusting the mic was, and that it was my fault and my beard and all this other stuff.
Well, and you are a spit talker.
oh yeah, I
like,
am.
that's established.
I am.
There's
yeah.
also like random toenail clippings on the
Whoa,
board. At
That's
times.
not
Oh,
me.
well, that is-
Yeah.
That is not me.
We
I-
know you can't reach your toes.
Shade
yeah, there you go. Fantastic. All right. I think that's going to have to do it. On that insult, we will end the precast for today.